how can you tell if a man is lying? That's an interesting question.
Well, here's the thing. I went on 121 first dates, and I met a lot of guys that I never met in real life by just writing back and forth for a minute or doing the things. And rarely did I ever get lied to. Now, is that the truth? But here's the thing. I decided that people don't lie to me. And I just don't grant that being. I mean, if they do, all right, I missed it. Cool. And if I find out that I'm going to not hang out with them anymore, or I'm going to have a conversation with them about it. And it's not something that I really spend a lot of time thinking about, because what I notice is we'll tell ourselves stories and that's what shows up. I only attract liars, or I only attract weirdos, or I only attract the cheaters. Watch what you're telling yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you are focused and afraid that that's who you're going to attract, universe is going to be like, cool, I can serve that up all day long. But you know what? It just never really hit my radar as a problem because I just wasn't willing to let it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I also know that if I'm a safe place to say anything, if people lie, human, animal in us, both men and women, we lie. If we get backed into a corner and our life feels threatened and we can't figure out a faster way out, we'll lie. And an honest person will tell you when they lied. Dave and I do it all the time. Not all the time. I mean, literally in 5 years of being together, there's been like 4 times where I've had to say, hey, so I lied about a thing. Let me clean it up. Here's what I lied about. And I lied because I was afraid of this thing, right? So an honest person will tell you when they lied. So if you don't create the environment where they feel backed into a corner, chances are they're not going to lie to you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they bother?
Yeah. And I really do believe in the idea that you're talking about we create so much of our own experience by our own beliefs. And so if you believe that all men are liars, or all men are cheaters, or all men are unable to commit, or all men want is sex, or whatever the belief might be, that is likely going to be your experience, because we form beliefs in our minds, and then we find evidence to support those beliefs. And then we develop a confirmation bias around that. We find evidence that backs up that initial belief, which may have been false to begin with, but we collect evidence for it, and that becomes our experience. And so sometimes, and I'm just going to throw this out, sometimes asking different or more powerful questions, instead of asking, how can I tell if a man is lying? What if you ask yourself a question like, what if I believed that men out there were dealing with me in good faith? I mean, if you switch your questions, what I'm saying is, we're looking for answers, but sometimes the key to the answers is flipping your questions into something more positive. Or what if I really knew that most of the men out there really do desire to deal with a woman in good faith and are really those providers and protectors that we talked about? Just saying, yeah. You can flip your experience to some extent by flipping your questions and questioning, asking different questions that are in a more positive light. Like one of my clients recently asked me, well, what if I never find anybody? What if I never meet the right guy? Well, so what's the belief under that? There's beliefs going on underneath that. There are beliefs that there's a shortage of men, or that, whatever, something about her, she might believe something about her, that she's not going to attract the kind of man she wants, or whatever. And so I said, let me ask you this question. I said, what if you were to ask yourself this question? If you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that your right guy is out there and that you're going to meet him, and that's inevitable, how would you be? What would change for you? And we were totally able to flip this in her way of thinking. And she came away feeling so energized and excited and full of the possibility. So I just want to offer this as, kind of a little side note to this question.
Yeah, that's really great. And when you have a really clean and clear vision that men are pretty good guys out there for the most part, and that they're not, that they're coming at you with good faith, what happened, because that's how I did it. What happens is when you're dating, all you get to see now is, oh, we're not a fit. Okay, next. We might be a fit. Let's date some more and find out more about this one. That one over there. Oh yeah, we're not a fit. So instead of he's a bad guy or I found out he lied, or no, it's just, are we a fit? Are we not a fit? Maybe let's see. Maybe we are a fit. Don't know yet. It's pretty great.
One last question. And let's see. I'm a divorced 47-year-old woman who recently started dating a 42-year-old man who was never married. It seems like he's the type of man that Wendy talked about, who wants to build his castle first. My question is, how do I ask his intentions for a long-term relationship without coming across too strong? I don't want to wait too long for fear of becoming attached and investing too much of my time. This is a great question, and I have some thoughts, but I'll let you go first.
Oh, no, go first. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I want to say great job for being out there dating. And I want you to know I actually married a man 5 years younger than I am. My husband is 5 years younger than I am. So I think, when we get to a mature age, 40s and beyond, I just don't think age is like that big of a thing. So that's one thing. The fact that he's never been married, I know that this can be sometimes an obstacle for some women, because some women kind of think, well, he's never been married. What's the problem here? Or is he going to be the kind of man that's able to commit? But I can tell you, like, my husband and I, when we got married, he was 38. I was 43. And my husband it took him a while to kind of figure out his career path. He got his master's in accounting and then worked for a few years and then decided he wanted to go back to law school. So he went to law school in his mid-30s. Didn't graduate from law school till later in his 30s, and he wanted to kind of have his career in place before he really felt like he was ready for marriage. So this whole castle building thing that you brought up can be a real thing for some men, and it doesn't necessarily mean that he's not ready. A lot of times, this is what I'll say, a lot of times men will share with you in things they say or in conversation kind of the direction or vision that they have for their lives, for their future, what they want. A lot of times men tell us things and we don't always hear them, or we don't always listen, or we don't always believe them, right? But my husband would say things like, if I'm fortunate enough to get married in the next few years, I would really like to, whatever. He would mention and he would say things like that. I also think it's fine as you're, exploring and getting to know someone to just kind of not come out and say, so what are your intentions? Or, so do you see yourself marrying me? No, that's not what we're talking about. But I think it's okay to just kind of say, tell me a little bit about, what's working in your life and where you see yourself 5 years from now. Just explore, see what comes up in conversation. I just think a lot of times we miss the cues, or we don't hear the cues, and a lot of times men tell us exactly where they're at. I'll let you take it from there.
Absolutely. I mean, you said a lot of it. And if you play the game, what do you love about your life? Or what would you change about the way your life is now? If you had it all your way is a really great question. If you had it all your way, what's your life going to be like? What's it going to be like now? Do you have any plans about the whole life, right? So I don't want women asking the question on the first date ever. And what's your intention with me is, I think often none of our business during the time we want to ask it, because he's still trying to figure that out himself. but I would be more interested in what's his intention and direction for his own life. So you can see if you'd be included in that, right? If you're on track for that. Now, what I did, I was in a very different situation because I had been single for over a decade, and I didn't have anything to clean up or handle or anything like that. And when I met Dave, I was his first date in 24 years. He was in a 24-year marriage. I was date number 1. So he was brand newly divorced guy. Yeah. So instead of saying, what's your intentions? Like, can you imagine if I said to him, what's your intentions with me? He would have been out the door. If I would have said, are you dating for a relationship? Right. And he didn't intend to have one at that moment. He thought he was going to have some fun, but then he met me. So sometimes when you meet the right person for you, things will change, or when you're at the right stage in your life, things will change. So what I said in my circumstance was, hey, look, so I don't have anything to sort out, but you do. And because I don't have anything to sort out, I'm just going to let you lead this relationship. And what I need you to know is I don't need marriage, but I do need partnership. And if you can ever see while we're dating that we're not on track to be in a committed lifetime partnership, you need to let me know so we can stop dating. Mm-hmm. And giving him that space to lead was all he needed. Mm-hmm. That's all he needed.
Yeah.
It was on after that. So you want to, if he's in a space, so for everybody, if he's in a space where he's still sorting out his life or uncertain of his direction, that's not the time to lean in and say, where is this going with me? What you can do is you can state your intentions, tell him the path you're walking, let him lead. And if you need to get off the path, get off the path. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I will say ultimatums never work. That's not a good idea. Don't give a man an ultimatum. But you do have the right as a woman to decide what's right for you and what your path is, and to honor that and to express what you want. I mean, a big key to all of this is just, you don't have to put that particular man on the spot, especially in the early stages, but you can let a man know what it is that you want. Like you said, Wendy, you shared what it is that you wanted for yourself and for your life. Mm-hmm. And you weren't making any demands. You weren't giving any ultimatum. You were creating that space, but you were letting him know that that was what you wanted for yourself and for your life, and asked if he didn't see it going in that direction, that he would let you go. I think sometimes we're so afraid of speaking our truth, because we're so afraid that it might scare someone off. But in almost every case, it's better to know earlier rather than later if that is going to be the case. And so just being able to speak from our hearts, from what's true, speak what's true for us, is a really powerful thing.
Yeah. And not on the first date.
Yeah, not on the first date.
First date is, do I like you and do I want to see you again? It's exactly. Not where is this going?
Exactly. If possible, turn off the chatterbox on that first date.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so much fun. I know we could talk forever. Wendy and I are both talkers, you can probably tell. Thank you to all of you who've hung with us. Thank you again, Wendy, for your generosity and for your time.
Thanks for having me, Michelle. And thank you, everybody, for hanging with us and spending your day with us. We really appreciate your time.
Wendy and I are sending you lots of love and wishing you all the best. Bye-bye for now.